4 years for Dudu Myeni to have access to her directorships of all entities removed. This includes roles in state-owned enterprises, private businesses and non-profit organizations. The delinquent director action is a legal strategy which OUTA is now considering using again. This is against other individuals who've used their powers as directors to manipulate SOEs. Well, speaking to us about this tonight is Advocate Stefanie Fick from OUTA. Advocate Fick, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. You seem to be quite emboldened by the decision of the Supreme Court of Appeal not to even give Ms. Myeni a hearing. This is on the matters in an attempt to have the findings against her as a delinquent director reviewed.
Yes, I think we've always said, from day one, when we received the judgment from Judge Dolmay, we were just delighted, and it's because I think that it's a win for civil society. Obviously, it's a win for OUTA, it's a win for SAPA, it's a win for our supporters. But I think in general, it is really a big win for civil society, and it also paves the way for this happening in future. I think it's one of those sections in the Companies Act that hasn't been used often, and I think it can be. And it also shows that civil society doesn't have to sit back and wait for the NPA and all the big state organizations to take action. We have the power and we can do something and use the law in order to hold someone to account for what happened at one of our SOEs.
So when you look at the possibility of using this again in future, for now, any particular names, any particular institutions that you are looking at?
Well, I think I actually want to say, I think unfortunately there are so many to choose from. If you just thought Eskom, one of our bigger SOEs that is also struggling. There are other directors, for example, at SAA that one can consider. I don't want to make promises. I just think that one should use this win and to encourage other civil activist organizations to maybe take hands and consider this action. I also think it is, I want to say, a warning, and maybe when we appoint people in positions, we need to be extremely careful to appoint the right people. There are so many people that wants to be on board of SOE in order to act in the best interest of South Africans. We need people on board to make sure that our SOEs, is taken in the right direction. So it is, I want to say, a warning to make sure that the people that sit on boards, if you are there, please make sure that you look after the best interests of South Africans.
Of course, part of the critique about the strategy could well be that, yes, it's effective in targeting delinquent directors, but the focus on public sector institutions and organizations means that you still have those in the private sector getting away with white-collar crime effectively and not being held accountable.
Of course, you are 100% correct. We are unfortunately limited in the amount of cases we can take on, and our mandate has always been the waste of taxpayers' money. So private institutions may not necessarily fall within that criteria, but what you have said is 100% correct. Often one forgets that corruption, and even corruption in state-owned entities, are linked to private companies, and we need to stop that. So it is definitely not to say that, private companies are innocent and it has no impact on our economy, of course. And maybe the next delinquent director case is a private company that did business with a corrupt, government official. Who knows? But all this, there are so many examples. And I can also just reiterate that we are just as strong as the facts and the evidence that we receive. And it's again an invitation to anyone that's listening that if you have that type of information that will put us in a position to go after the corrupt individuals that are wasting our taxpayers' money, whether that is in a private sector or in government, please share with us that information so that we can use this momentum and get the right people in the position and show that, yes, you will be held accountable.
OUTA's advocate Stefanie Fick, let's leave it there for tonight. Thanks for your time.